Good morning, and welcome to the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.3 WRUL, 93.3 WROY, AM 1460, and online worldwide at WRUL.com. The sports show is brought to you by Cherry Street Automotive, Citizens National Bank, Nancy J. Winter CPA, Hale Body Shop, Roark Transport, Farrell Hospital, Little Giant Grocery Outlet, Wabash Christian Therapy, Bush & Associates CPAs, Taylor Eye Care, People's National Bank, Hamilton Memorial Hospital, Rush Appliance, Wabash General Hospital, Carmi Lumber Company, Country Financial, Kyle Hosick, Pro Rehab Carmi, Rice Motor Company, Southern Illinois Trading and Supply, Expressway Ford, Jordan Funeral Group, First Mid-Bank and Trust, Huck's Market, Invenergy, Jansen Auto Group, and Carmi Kiwanis Club. Cole Carter alongside Travis Black, J.C. Tinsley across the hallway getting us on the air. Travis, did you have a good Thanksgiving?
It was a good Thanksgiving. Had a nice time spending with the family, watched a lot of football, and nothing could be better.
Did you eat a lot of ham? Because you said on Tuesday you weren't a turkey person.
I'm not a turkey person, but ham's not till Christmas.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, we are going to welcome in our special guest for the morning here bright and early. A lot to get to today, a lot going on in the sports world, but we're going to welcome in head coach of the Carmi-White County boys basketball team, Kevin Wolff. Coach, thanks for coming in this morning.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So I know you guys have already started your season, played your first game back on Tuesday, a big tournament coming up this week, but I always like looking back to last season, and man, what a season that was last year for you guys. Finishing 26-6, a conference championship, you won the CIT. Just kind of reflect on last season. I know that's a season you'll remember forever.
Yeah, for sure. That was just kind of a magical group, especially what happened, like to Bryce the year before, breaking his arm or his elbow, and then his rehab coming back, and then kind of, him and Tyler, the two seniors, leading us through that special season. Just something I'll never forget, the 26 wins, the 15-0 at home. There's just a lot of good things that happened, and we had great community support. We had fans that followed us all year long last year. Didn't get it done in the regional time, but there's nothing to be ashamed of. So many good things, and I'll remember that group for a long time.
When you have a great team with a couple of seniors, it's always hard coming back to replace those two, especially those two guys. Both are playing college basketball right now, but kind of we've seen it a little bit, but kind of what's your plan to replace those two this year?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. We talked on the radio Tuesday just about the tough buckets that Bryce and Tyler got last year around the rim, in traffic, getting to the free throw line. You saw Mitchell do a little bit of that the other night, but it's just going to be tough. Trey Dixon really stepped up, I thought, on Tuesday and played a tough, hard-nosed game. Got on the floor with loose balls, had several rebounds. I think he had 8 rebounds, was our second leading rebounder. So Trey is going to be a big part of that, and then it's got to be a collective effort. You're not going to replace Bryce, a 6'4" senior with his ability, and Tyler Gomez. Like you said, they're both playing college basketball, so it's got to be a collective effort. We're not going to be the same team this year as we were last year, but there's some things this year's team can do differently than last year's team. So we just got to stick with it. Come to practice every day and work hard, and then see what happens.
So it's what's really unique is what you guys are bringing back this year. You still bring back 3 starters and a couple of juniors and seniors that come off the bench now, but your 3 starters back now, Mitchell, Gavin, and Lynn. Just talk about them and kind of how they've had to take that step up and to be leaders of this team.
Yeah, and that kind of started this summer. We took everybody's best shot this summer whenever we played, and we won a lot of games in the summer, but it was tough. And I think at that point, the guys kind of started to realize that we're not going to sneak up on anybody anymore. And those games this summer. Teams were playing us hard, playing us tough, beating us a few times, and then those guys now, I think, into the season, understand that it's their team. Not really their team, but they're the guys, the focal point that they're going to get every single night when they're on the floor, and they've accepted that challenge. We had all 3 of them were in double figures the other night. Mitchell with 23, Gavin and Landon each had 10 apiece. They're good players. 2 were all conference last year, and I think Gavin Holloman's an all conference player for sure with the abilities that he has. So they just have to bring it every night. Know they're going to get everybody's best shot, and then the supporting cast around them this has to know what their roles are and do what they're capable of, and we should be in pretty good shape most nights.
So your 2 new starters into the lineup this year, Trey Dixon, he was a 6th man a lot last year, and we've kind of talked about him before, and I told Travis back on Tuesday, he's a kid that he scored 40 points in a game back in junior high, but you could tell he's a very team-first kind of guy. Let's talk about Trey, and you were very pleased with the way he played back on Tuesday.
He did exactly what we asked of him. He plays tremendous defense off the ball and on the ball, getting on the floor, communicating on defense, getting rebounds, and right now that's what we're asking of him, and he will score some points for us this year. It just hasn't kind of, since he's got to high school, really been in his group, Landon has kind of taken on the scoring role for his age, but it'll come. There's going to be nights where he gets 8 to 10 points, but we don't really need that from him. We need him right now to just continue to be that tough, hard-nosed guy, get some junk buckets, and that'll be perfect for him. And then Mason's in the lineup. That was his first time starting on Tuesday night. We kind of rotated him in and out a little bit with Cade Stockton, who's our sixth man right now. And then Merrick Milhorn is a kid that we're going to see on the floor some. He got in foul trouble in the JV game, but he brings some athleticism. He's 6 foot. He's skilled. He's pretty smooth. He's a younger kid. He's a sophomore. But right now, those 7. And then Gavin Payton will have a role, depending on, it's basically matchups versus a team like Sparta. Doesn't really fit with what we're trying to do. But whenever we play the teams like El Dorado that are bigger, you're going to see Gavin Payton out there guarding and doing some dirty, tough things around the bucket and trying to just slow down some teams that have some bigger guys inside. So that's probably the 8 right now that we'll probably be going with. But you never know. It's a long season with injuries, a rolled ankle here. You just never know. But right now, that's the 8 guys.
So those guys being your juniors and seniors, we've had a chance to see a little bit of the freshman and sophomore play at the JV level. I know it's a small freshman group, but kind of tell us about those youngsters and what they can do now and what they can do in a couple of years.
I've been really, really pleased with the summer, and then right now, the Colton Marvin and Hayden Sauls, the 2 sophomore kids you guys saw at the JV level. Hayden can really shoot it, and he's becoming more athletic. Can't say enough about our athletic PE program that we have here in Carmi. I mean, you can see as kids are maturing. I mean, Hayden has gotten quicker. He's up around the rim now in practice the other day trying to dunk. You never saw that last year, and that's a credit to him maturing and getting older, but then also the weight program that we have. But Colton and Hayden are 2 sophomores that are nice players. I look for them to both have good JV years. And I mentioned Merrick Milhorn. And then we have Christopher Key. He's another sophomore, a move-in guy, loves the game of basketball. A little raw right now. Hasn't played a lot of team basketball, just when talk about defensively and offensively, but he played the other night and plays hard, and he loves the game of basketball. And then we get into our freshmen. You saw Dylan Weineberger, the size that he has for a freshman. He gives our guys fits in practice, the varsity guys, just because of his size. Another kid that loves basketball, and if he sticks with it, he could be a really nice post player as the years go on. Jackson Bradshaw, I don't know if anybody ever watched his dad play, but spitting image. He's tough. He's hard-nosed, shoots it. If you tell him to set a screen, he is going to set a screen. And very coachable right now, does what we ask, but still just a freshman. And, even whenever I started, you guys played on a freshman team Travis is one of the best players I've ever coached. You didn't get moved up to play JV. None of you guys did as freshmen. No. They all stayed down and played freshmen. Now we have freshmen that are scrimmaging against our varsity kids. Every day.
Practice.
You didn't even practice with us. And how many years ago was that? Just
8 to 10.
So if our freshmen were down just playing by themselves, you would think that with the size of Jackson and Dylan, holy cow, this group's going to be something. Right now, heck, they're getting put up with us, and they're getting beat on every day, which I think will help them in the long run. But the times have changed so much. But Dylan and Jackson, 2 solid players. And then we have Brody Brown, that's Ethan Mahan's little brother, nice little guard, athletic. And then Jace Corson, another kid that played 8th grade basketball last year, tall, wiry kind of kid. Just 4 freshmen is all we have. And it kind of stinks for them that we don't have those guys going and practicing on their own, playing 8 to 10 freshman games, even more. You guys played more than that, but that's just where we're at right now. But I really like all the kids in the program. They're good. They're good kids. Come from good families. Do what we ask. Show up every day, and that's what you really want.
Man, back then we played 25 games. Had a
freshman I think it was like 19. Yep.
Yeah.
And that's just like you said, 7 or 8 years later, and that's just you've heard my brother talk about it, Coach Simon talk about it. We're in a small community. We're going to have a run where we have everybody out playing, and then we're going to have a little run where we don't have big numbers. And you see it in football, we didn't have great numbers. Transferring into basketball, we don't have great numbers, and you maybe even see a little bit of that into baseball. But in 2 or 3 years, we could have everybody out. Our 8th grade football team has 25 kids. So it's nothing.
Peaks and valleys.
Peaks and valleys, without a doubt. Nothing that's going on. We're just in a small community, and that's what happens.
Your assistant coaches, Justice Stubblefield and Mark Stenneback. How cool is that for one to coach with a kid that you coached one of your first few years of being the varsity coach, then having coached any there who's been your classmate and your best friend for a long time?
It's really cool, and Coach Simon talks a lot about that. Like with the football program, having guys that he coached back helping. You're back, Travis, at the junior high, coaching now with Coach Dixon, who I coached for. So it's kind of just it is really cool. And I always talk about Justice. He played a little bit of varsity basketball as a junior, but he Not a lot. But he played every JV game like it was his last, and then as a senior, couldn't take him off the floor. He was one of the best point guards I've coached and been around. Could pass it, could guard, all the dirty stuff that we needed him to do, fighting over screens. And he was a kid that didn't play much varsity until his senior year. And I use him as an example all the time. Now we do have freshmen at the varsity practice. Things are different. But to get on that varsity roster as a freshman, you used to have to be a stud. To play varsity as a sophomore, you had to be very, very good. And even in the junior, a lot of times people had to wait till their senior year to play. And some kids don't see it like that now. If they're not getting varsity minutes as a sophomore, you may see them wanting to get out of the program, especially as a junior. Not him, and that's what I use him as an example all the time. Just about sticking with it, doing what we ask, and then his senior year, he should have been all conference. It was one of the best point guards we've had, and he does a great job coaching our JV kids. Really loves the game of basketball, sees the game kind of how I do, which really helps.
So looking at around the Black Diamond Conference.
Oh, sorry, forgot Stendy. He's there too.
Yeah,
Coach Stendy, he's my best buddy. He does a great job.
Looking around the Black Diamond Conference, of course, you guys won the East last year. So, like you've mentioned, that the target's kind of on your back now. But looking around other teams, I know obviously El Dorado graduating the Price kid. Flora had a couple of seniors, but looking around the other teams in the East, what are you thinking? How do you guys fare, and who else is going to be fighting for you guys up top?
I think the one thing about our league is there's really good coaching. So a lot of teams lost a lot, like we did. We lost 2 senior all-conference players. So did El Dorado. So did Flora. Hamilton County lost an all-state big guy, 6'8", and Wyatt Hanson, and then Edwards County has most everybody back. So, it's just tough. I think El Dorado, with their size, just reading through some things and seeing some scores, they're going with their big lineup, 6'5", 6'5", 6'4", 6'3", and then a guard. And they're probably, change some of that around a little bit, but I could see them playing a bunch of zone and being really hard to score on inside and making teams shoot it from the outside, which I think could play into our hands, but then that's going to give us trouble guarding their size too. Coach Lee, but Florida does a great job. They're new to the conference, so we haven't really seen them a ton with the lower levels, but they lost 2 really good senior players, but they have a good player coming back. Doug Miller does a great job. He's going to be playing 10 guys. Coach Buss is over there now. So they talk, and he's not giving me any information, but just kind of telling me what, it looks like and what Doug is telling him about how he wants to play fast and play 10 guys, and that's what they did the other night. And really beat who I thought was going to be a pretty good Sesser team. Yeah. So, whenever you've got 10 guys, and you can run them in and stay fresh. It makes it hard to withstand that for 32 minutes. And then I'm leaving out somebody, Fairfield. Coach McElravy does a great job. He's got a lot coming back. I think he's going to be another. They're going to be another team that plays quite a few guys. I know one of the guys that he expected to have some minutes got hurt there towards the end of the football season. But he's got a couple young freshmen, too. So I could see him playing some older kids and then getting these young freshmen who he really likes in there. And I think they could be one of the tougher outs, especially going up to the Mule Barn. It'll be hard to get a win up there. I think that every team is capable. I don't think there's anybody in the league that you're going to walk in and just take care of business just because you're there. You have to bring it every night. You have to game plan for them, and it should be a good conference battle.
Outside of the conference, even over on the west side of the conference, just some teams that you see in your non-conference schedule, or you might see next week, or in the EHT regional. Who else around here do you think is going to be
Vienna, who beat us there at the end of last year. The Treat kid's back. He's probably an all-state caliber player. Sesser, who we saw twice this summer, we're going to see them over at DuQuoin. The Packer, the really good quarterback that they had, is probably their best player. So I'm anxious to kind of talk to Coach Miller a little bit about what he thought of Sesser, because I thought coming into the year that was going to be they were going to be a good team on the other side of the conference. Goreville on the other side of the conference is always good. We don't see them anymore. We used to see them in the shootout down at Benton when we'd play down there. Travis played them, but we don't go to that shootout anymore. But they came over to North City and put it to North City the other night. Other than that, Sesser, Goreville, Vienna is who I think. Not Chester, but they're not in the other side anymore. They played Anna Jonesboro to a 1-point game, beat Anna Jonesboro the other night, and then played Pinckneyville pretty tough. So that's another 2A team, that we could potentially see down the road somewhere. It's tough. There's just a lot of good coaches and a lot of good teams. So like I said, you just have to be ready to go every single night, like you saw the other night whenever we went down to Gallatin County. it's hard to win sporting events.
And Benton's bringing a lot back too.
Oh yeah, Benton is a load. Yeah, the Doc coming back. The guards that they have, Billington and the Melvin Boy, they're going to be very, very, very good. And we got them coming to our place this year on a Saturday after we play Hamilton County. But yeah, their Coach Weinmo does a fantastic job, and it's going to be that'll be probably one of our tougher games that's on our schedule.
So you guys started the year back on Tuesday against Gallatin County, and that was probably up in your book as far as the wildest wins you've had in your career.
Yeah.
Just kind of reflect or remind people that weren't there on Tuesday. So you guys have a 3-point lead, 10 seconds left. They call timeout. I'm sure the first thing you're telling your kids is don't let anybody shoot a 3-point shot.
Without a doubt. I mean, we're in the timeout, and we're up 3, and they're whatever. I said, we cannot give up a 3. Run them off the 3-point line. If they get inside the 3, don't foul them for an and one. Guard them still. But we can give up a 2 at this point. They throw it in, standing there, hit a 3. I mean, literally 20 seconds earlier we told them not to. But that's the 15 to 18-year-old kid thing we're talking about. But anyway, Richardson hits the 3, which we all thought was a 3, which, the official, for everybody who's went back and watched it, he did an outstanding job.
Yes.
He was on the call. You could see it on the film. He pointed at the line, told the scorer's table that it was a 2. So, people are all up in arms, I know, down there or whatever. He did the correct thing. 2 points. I don't know if it went up on the board or not, but it should have.
Yeah.
Coach Stubblefield saw it, the 2, and then Cade Stockton on the floor saw it. He was yelling at the guys. I did not see it. I think I said on the radio I had 2 timeouts left, but it was kind of so sporadic, and I thought we were tied. If we were losing, I would have called a timeout and tried to draw something up, told the guys where we wanted to get the ball, etc. But with it being tied and one of our better players having the ball in his hands, getting downhill to the bucket, I was okay with that.
Well, that's a smart thing to do. Is they're celebrating? They've tied the shot, or tied the game. You want to try to give
without
them
a doubt. And then we got an offensive rebound and got it to a guy wide open underneath the bucket. And it didn't work out for us, but in the end, I guess it did work out for us. But it was just so weird, and you saw our kids I loved watching the WRUL coverage after the game. Our kids, we won, but they looked kind of down and out a little bit. I think it's kind of a good thing because we got the victory, but they know we didn't really come ready to go. We got down 15. Now, granted, Gallatin shot the lights out, hitting 5 threes in the first quarter. I mean, okay, credit to them. But I think it was good for our guys to get kind of punched in the mouth a little bit because, like I said, we're dealing with young kids coming off a great year last year, had a good summer, have guys back. I was young once too. You step on the floor, we got these guys, no problem. Well, the other team's gunning for you, and they're well coached, and they play hard. And I think we got hit in the mouth a little bit. But the best thing that happened was we were able to win, but we were also able to get hit in the mouth a little bit to know that, okay, this is going to be a long season. We've got to do a lot of stuff right. We're not just going to show up and beat people. It's going to take hard work and effort. So I think that's what I kind of took from the game. But it was a crazy finish, and it was just wild. And if Landon's rebound off of Gavin's airball layup, I thought he kind of got hit on the swipe, but he put it up. Landon comes flying in. For him to catch it and be able to find Trey underneath the bucket was an outstanding play. Trey's going to make that layup 99 times out of 100. Yeah. That would have been a very cool finish to the game, To
win by 3.
To win by 3, exactly. But, man, it was fun. That's just what I love about sports so much. That gym was packed. The atmosphere was good. Gallatin County's going to win a bunch of games. I hope we can win a lot of games. That's why I coach. That's why everybody plays. That's why the community shows up to go watch, because it's fun, seeing guys play the game the right way, play hard, and somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose, but that was very good entertainment.
And I don't know how many people text me and say that was the worst goaltending call they've ever seen. Well, me and Travis, our first thought was that they just call a goaltend because
all I saw was count the basket and held up 2, so I saw so they're counting the layup as 2, and that was the only one that anyone was.
I love that. I told you yesterday when I saw you that whenever watching it, it's like goaltending, and everybody's like goaltending, but I understand what you guys were saying. But I cracked up whenever I was watching it. But one kid did kind of go through the net a little bit,
and if they tug on the
net, exactly with that.
That, so
I could get it, but it was, and then Coach Buss texted you or whatever. But if I was calling the game, I was coaching it, and I'd have no clue what was going on.
Well, of course, we're up top too. Nobody communicated. We just know they called the game, and both teams were walking off. So we didn't.
But immediately, my mind went back to Bryce Northcott at El Dorado when he makes a 3, and they call it a 2, and I'm just like, okay, well, I mean, can we go get the video? Because you guys had it then on video. that's beside the point or
I
whatever.
took my word for it on that one too because I was watching the whole way.
Oh my gosh, that was, and he was behind the line then. I still get sick about that.
Yeah, about a foot, but
yeah. Beside
6 years on,
I know
we got to move on eventually.
Yeah, eventually.
That's hard.
So moving on to next week, you guys go down to DuQuoin, and we've played up in that tournament for probably close to 10 years now, but they're doing a little bit different this year, adding in some new teams, some bigger schools that we normally don't see. We are on the side with Sparta, Sesser-Valier, and Heron, so you guys will see them Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. And then I like how they're doing the pool play, and then the winners of those play for fourth, third, second championship on Saturday. But what do you know about the three teams you're going to see next week? And just, I know you like going to DuQuoin and seeing some really good teams down there.
Yeah, wish it was 30 minutes closer, but it's fine. They treat us really well. See teams that we normally don't get a chance to see. Whenever you go into the El Dorado tournament, and then to our regional and into our conference, you see a lot of the same teams. So it's nice to go over there and play some teams that you don't get a chance to see any other time. We do have to make 4 trips over there this year with the way they're doing it. They've always treated us well, and the team had to make 3 because we played twice on Saturday. But this year, I think it's going to be great how they're doing it. Sparta, got a chance to see them. They're on YouTube as well against Wayne City. Fast, athletic, will come and trap you and double you. You're going to have to take care of the ball. They like to get it and go. They shoot it quick. We're not going to have to guard long, but they're athletic. So, once again, it's a different style. It'll be a totally different style than what everybody saw Tuesday against Gallatin County when Gallatin was not holding it, but being very diligent and running their offense. We try to do the same thing, get the best shot we can. Sparta does not play like that. They're up and down. Sesser is going to be a little bit more kind of similar to us. And then Heron, they're year in and year out. Their coach does a great job, and they've got great athletes.
And a lot coming back.
And a lot coming back. That's going to be the Friday night. That is going to be a very, very tough game. And then on the other side, with Murphy and DuQuoin and Chester and Cairo, there's a lot of good teams in it. But I think it's going to be fantastic the way we're going to cross over on that Saturday and play those games. Like I said, just some new teams, different styles. DuQuoin likes to get it up and down. Sparta's going to want to get it up and down. Sesser will play kind of probably how we do. Heron likes to get the ball up and down the floor. It's exciting basketball. Gonna have to bring it every night. There is a lot of times in a tournament, as you guys all know, there may be the one game where it's okay, a little breather. If we play well, we know we got this one. We can get some guys some rest, maybe in the fourth quarter. None of that next week. But that's okay. These are young boys. They love to play, and we love to compete, and that's why we do it. And we'll go over there and give it our best shot.
So last year, obviously going back to Bryce and Tyler and not having them anymore, you're looking for who's going to be your go-to guy now, and somebody that we've had a chance to see now for 2 years is you can't talk about the team without mentioning Mitchell Edwards.
Yeah.
And what he did last year as a sophomore. I think you mentioned close to the school record of most threes in a season.
Yep.
We saw what he did this summer, dunking on multiple people at a time. And I think the biggest thing with Mitchell is, he's got the potential to be a really good basketball player, and you've seen him a lot more than we have, but just how neat is it to see him and how much he's developed and how much he continues to develop?
Yeah, he's a great player. And for his size, his shooting touch is unbelievable. You guys saw it the other night. Those threes that he shot were deep. I think he was 4-9 from 3. Probably the best shooter I've ever coached, and probably the best shooter, and have to talk to Toby and all the coaches, Mr. Lee and all them, but probably one of the better shooters that's ever came through Carmi. He can really shoot the basketball, but then what we saw the other night is where I think it's really going to take him over the top the next couple of years, is getting around the bucket and scoring and getting some and ones, getting to the free throw line, and then that in turn, somebody on the other team's getting a foul. That helped us the other night when Jackson fouled out. I told our guys yesterday, one of the best things we did yesterday was they only shot 4 free throws. We made 9. We made more than what they shot, and that's a recipe to win. But him getting around the bucket and scoring, his handles are getting better. His first couple years when we do ball handling, everybody hates the ball handling drills, the 2-ball handling. Gavin Payton kicks the ball every day in practice because he hates it. But Mitchell is really taking that serious because he loves to play for Carmi, but he wants to go on and play. That's a goal of his, to play collegiately somewhere, and that's fine. But his first couple years, like a lot of kids, the ball handling wasn't his favorite thing to do, and now he's taking it very seriously because he knows his ball handling needs to get a little bit better for him to really excel at the next level. So you can see the growth and his maturity, knowing what he's got to get better at. He's trying to put on some weight, but him and like a lot of the guys, they just love to play, and that's fun to coach. And having those guys in there each day, and they're just wanting to play. And you guys know me. I want our team to stay hungry all year long. We don't practice for 2.5 hours. I was a player once, and whenever it got to 2 hours, and we're looking up at the clock. Now you're talking to your buddy, and now we're doing some drill that really we're just doing a drill because we're doing a drill. You know what I mean? We've all been there. I want the guys in there for an hour, hour and a half, maybe an hour and 45 minutes once we start to really scout for people. But I want the guys coming into the gym hungry, and those guys stay after and shoot. They're getting in the gym anytime they can to get shots up, and that's a credit to them. They just love to play the game, and he especially loves to play, and he can shoot it. And with his size, his jumping ability, we didn't get a chance to see it the other night. He can really get out of the gym. The best 1-foot jumper I've ever seen. Most people get up off 2 feet. Not him. He's off 1, and can really get up around the rim. But I also think, too, and he knows this as well, every single game he's going to have a nose in his chest. Mm-hmm. And, with our coaching, there's going to be a guy right in him every single night, and I told him this the other day. He's still going to get his, but that makes our team better because now nobody's helping off of him. So now if we set good screens and get downhill, other guys are going to get shots. He'll still be able to get his buckets, but every team, the focal point is we got to stop Mitchell. We can't let him get hot from the 3. Can't let him get downhill and get to the rim. So he's going to be the focal point, and I think he likes that. And you're going to see a lot of good things from him this year. Last
question, then we'll let you go because I know you got practice and a big game coming up today at 11 o'clock. But we mentioned Bryce.
The game.
We mentioned Bryce's shot earlier in the game on Tuesday and kind of those crazy moments. But what's been your favorite moment so far? Being whether it's you were JV coach for a few years behind Coach Dixon, now being the varsity, your 9th year as a head coach. What's been your favorite moment or favorite team that you've had a chance to be a part of here?
They've all been favorite moment. I don't know, probably the CIT little week last year was fun. Winning the CIT for the first time in a long time. Last year's team,
all those games last year, the CIT were fun.
Yes, that they were, and I think last year, we had won the conference before. Whenever I had that was the first year I think with Tucker and those guys, kind of that team because it was my first year coaching, varsity, and then this last year. I mean, I've had so many because even like Mahan's group, that went 16-16. He was so fun to coach and watch with the juniors behind him. I've just been kind of blessed to have really good kids, since I've been doing it. But going back to last year, the CIT, winning the conference, Bryce coming off of his injury and kind of leading us through all that. Last year's team was very special. And even you guys played the DuQuoin tournament win that we won back. I think that was my second year with Matt Rice and Justice, and you
16, 17.
You were starting as a junior and Bryce. Whenever you win tournaments, win conferences, we haven't been able to win a regional in a while, and I hope that comes sooner than later. But whenever you can put a trophy in the coach's office or wherever is always special. But even looking back to with Coach Knight at Grayville, we had some fun kids over there. Colton Aldridge, whenever I went up and scouted the other night, I ran into Colton Aldridge, who I coached at Grayville, and he, we had a great relationship, and that's why you coach for stuff like that. And he was, hey, Coach Wolff, and he had his wife there, and he's like, this is the guy, and whenever we played at JV, he drew up every play for me to shoot it. He's like, my favorite coach of all time, and I was like, well, no duh, you could really shoot it. Why wouldn't I draw up plays for you? But just stuff like that. I had a good time my 2 years at Grayville. Had a good time coaching with Coach Dixon, learned a lot from him. But if you had to say, what's your favorite team you've coached, it's probably last year's 26-win team, just because of what we accomplished, and there were a bunch of good kids and good support from our players' parents. They did a lot of fun stuff for us with feeding us and just doing so much. It was a special year, but that kind of leading into this year, I wouldn't say I've been as nervous as I have, but you want that now. Mm-hmm. What we did, it's fun to win 17 games, 16 games, but to do that as a coach, now I want that every year. I got a taste of it, and I want the boys to want it as badly as I do. So I'm just not trying to screw it up right now, and about screwed it up the first night. But no, it's so fun to get a chance to coach these kids.
Well, when you got your son Grayson here in the studio with us this morning, here in about 10 years, he'll be up there. Playing point guard for you, I'm sure.
We'll see. Do you like basketball, Bub? Can you talk into here? What?
No.
Why not? Yeah. No, he loves to play. We went out and played golf yesterday with a couple friends of ours. I bring him to practice. He loves to come and just be around the team. It's fun.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right, Coach. Thanks for coming in this morning. I know you're nervous about the game on later on today.
Yeah,
you're more about
I told you. I mean, we beat them the last 2 years pretty handily, really. I mean, we really put it. But we stole their signs. You know, that's the only reason why we were able to win the game. I mean, heaven forbid. I mean, come on. But no, it's going to be a great atmosphere there too. Like there'll probably be 20 million people watching that game today, which gets kind of an NFL number. It's what I love about sports. The atmosphere is going to be fantastic, and I just hope maybe we can get a three-peat here, 3 in a row.
There you go. All right, Coach. We'll talk to you next week at DuCoin. Best luck, and thanks for coming in this morning.
Yep, thanks.
We'll step aside right here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.3 WRUL and 93.3 WROY AM 1460. On 97.3 WRUL, 93.3 WROY, and AM 1460. Big thanks to head coach Kevin Wolff stopping by this morning, talking to us about last season, this season, Carmine basketball in general. I think we could have talked to him for 3 hours, Travis, but we do have other things to get to. He's got practice to get to. But I know back on Tuesday, Travis, there was a lot of good and a little bit of bad from the Bulldogs on Tuesday, but you can expect that in your first game of the year, playing a stout Gallatin County team. But yeah, it's no question to be a little bit different this year for the Bulldogs because, I think people don't realize, Carmine had a solid 5 scoring options to go to last year, of course, with Goman and Connor and Edwards. And now, like we mentioned, Mitchell Edwards has a bigger role for the team. Gavin Holman's got to play a bigger role. Landon Driscoll, of course, having to play a bigger role. So I think it's going to take the guys a little bit time to get used to that. But I think when this team hits its stride, whether it be at EHT time or into CIT time, they're going to be really fun to watch. They're fun to watch now, but when they get it figured out, you look out.
Yeah, last year they had 5 solid scoring options, and I talked about it a lot during the broadcast on Tuesday, was the fact that if one of those or 2 of those 5 didn't have it going, or 3 of those 5, you still had 2 that could just go out there and carry a team for a quarter or for a half with just their scoring ability and being able to put the ball in the basket. And that's the question for this team is, we have 3 solid scoring options. You got Mitchell, you got Landon, and you got Gavin. Those 3 can put up 25 or 30 if you need it. It's just those next 2 spots. What's Trey going to give you in terms of offense on certain nights? Because if he steps in that go-mat role, Tyler could either have 8 to 10 points, or he could have 25 points if he needed it. It just depended, and it goes night to night. And that's the type of ability I think Trey has, because we talked about it. He scored 40 points in a middle school basketball game before. So
he was as tall as he is now.
Yeah,
it still counts.
It still counts. It still goes in the scorebook. So I think if he can just figure out that role where when he needs to be aggressive and when he needs to take shots, and we didn't really get to talk about it. We talked about it off the broadcast, but outside of those top 3 scoring options, there was 2 shots to go around for the other 3 that played. So the shots are going to come for those guys. They got to be a little more evenly distributed. But the most improvement I can see from this team from Tuesday was from that first half to that second half, the defensive intensity. Because, when you get down 11, 15 points, you have to have it. You have to turn up on defense, and they were able to do that. And that's something you really didn't see last year because they really were never in those tight, close games.
So they weren't down in games that they came back and there wasn't many games last year they came back like that and won. Yeah,
I think the most points they were down by in games that were really tightly contested was maybe 4. Yeah. So you don't, but again, that's the type of maturity level and the growth that this team has to have. And if you can get people like Trey, people like Mason, people like Cade, people like Gavin Gavin Pate when he gets the opportunity, people like Merrick when he gets the opportunity, is to bring that energy, bring that defense, and really help this team go from they're a good team right now, and I think everyone can agree to that, but be a really great team.
Looking ahead at what the schedule is for this coming week for CWC basketball. Again, the boys are at DuCoin Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. Monday they will play Sparta. Tuesday they'll play Cesar-Valier. And then Friday they'll play Heron. And then Saturday will be the pool play. Carmine will either play for 4th, 3rd, 2nd, or 1st place next Saturday. On Tuesday, Travis and the 7th and 8th grade boys basketball boys will host Mount Carmel on Tuesday. The girls, 7th and 8th grade, will travel to St. Joe. The varsity girls, varsity and JV girls here in Carmine will host Hamilton County. Wrestling will travel to Olney on Tuesday. And again, the boys will play Cesar at DuQuoin. Wrestling will have their first home match on Wednesday as they host Mount Carmel. Then on Thursday, the 7th and 8th grade girls will host El Dorado. The varsity girls will travel to El Dorado. Mentioned boys playing Heron on Friday. And then Saturday, the wrestling, they are going to play at the Lawrenceville tournament on Saturday. Another team that started action last week, Travis, got into full swing. This week they're playing tonight was the Carmine girls basketball team, coached by Clinton Wolff. We talked to Clinton last Saturday. Pretty good start to the year. They started off 3-0, had a tough loss back on Wednesday against Harrisburg. You were there with me doing that game. And anybody who's followed girls basketball the last 10, 15 years, I mean, Harrisburg has been a powerhouse. Jake Stewart, what he has built there in the program, and we were kind of doing the math, texting Toby saying, when was the last time Carmine had beaten Harrisburg? And I think we decided 2011 was the last time, but man,
2010, 2011.
Carmine lost by 10, and that was a game that was decided within 2 minutes of the third quarter. Harrisburg starts on a 12-0 run, and Carmine just couldn't climb back. But, Travis, before that, those 3 games before that, and there were even some parts on Wednesday that were really impressive. This girls team this year for Carmine is one of the most talented girls teams they've had in a long time.
Yeah, it's a very athletic bunch. I mean, Coach Wolff, we talked about with him last Saturday, and he talked about it on Wednesday with the broadcast, saying how much of competitive nature that this group has, like how much of a competitor they are. I mean, they just made a 4th place state run in volleyball. Some of them came from tennis and was playing in state, and it's just some of it. They even said it's not their main sport, but they're that competitive and they want to win, and there's that competitive drive, and it's shown through the first couple games. They had a rough 2-minute stretch against Harrisburg, who's been a juggernaut in terms of girls basketball, made a bunch of deep playoff runs. So take away 2 minutes, they pretty much had a flawless start to the season, considering that they've had 3 or 4 practices. They've had more games than they've had practices at this point. So you can't be mad with it, and they're out there to compete. And another thing that kind of hurt them on Wednesday was Harrisburg they go 9, 10 deep, and right now we only went about 7 deep, and that's early in the season, just feeling people out. But it's always tough when you're coming off of an extended run of your fall sport like they did in volleyball, coming into basketball, not really getting in basketball shape, and still being able to put up that type of performance against a very good basketball team. It's impressive.
And Carmine will see Harrisburg again later on this year. I think they'll play them at Harrisburg this year in the regular season, so keep that in mind. The girls will play Anna Jonesboro tonight to wrap up the Harrisburg tournament. If they win tonight, I believe they'll take home 2nd place in that tournament, which obviously is great, and they get into conference play next week. As early as that is, they'll play Hamilton County at home on Tuesday, and they'll go to El Dorado on Thursday. Our broadcast schedule for this upcoming week, you can blame the sports director here at the station. He's not very smart sometimes and doesn't check his schedule before he posts things on Facebook. I made a mistake. I thought the boys played Cesar on Wednesday. They actually play them on Tuesday. I have since reposted the edited schedule, the correct schedule, on the WRUL Facebook page, so you can check those out for both the boys and the girls. So this week we will just have radio-only broadcast Monday, Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. I will not be here next Saturday, but a good buddy of ours, Roger Hobbs, is going to step in next Saturday. Him and Travis will bring that game for you as the Bulldogs play. We don't know who they play yet there in DuQuoin at that tournament, but also reminds me, no show next Saturday. I'll be on the road this time next Saturday on the way to Pittsburgh to see my lovely Steelers play, but that's neither here nor there.
Kenny throws a pick.
Kenny throws a pick. That's another time. We'll save that for our national sports segment that is coming up next. And we'll take a short break right here on the Saturday Morning Sports Show. Cole Carter, Travis Black with you. JC Tinsley across the hallway getting us on the air. This is the Saturday Morning Sports Show on 97.3 WRUL and 93.3 WROY AM 1460. A big thanks to Kevin Wolff for stopping by the studio this morning and chatting with us earlier about the boys basketball team. They are going to begin playing the DuQuoin tournament this coming Monday night as they take on Sparta. All right, Travis, well, I'm going to rub it in your face that I beat you at the terrible 10 pick'ems last week. Travis went 3-7. I went 7-3. I'll let you defend yourself.
I mean, I had to give you a lead. I beat you too bad last last year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I had to give you a lead to start with.
All right, so we've got 5 college football games going on today, 5 NFL games going on tomorrow. We'll start off with the game, the big one going on in the sports world today. As Coach Wolff was mentioning, he's a big Michigan guy, so after practice is over today, that's where he'll be going home watching that one. So number 2, Ohio State at number 3, Michigan. I doubt the loser is able to get into the playoff, but who knows? There's a lot of good one-loss teams. So this is a big one in Ann Arbor. Who you got, Travis?
Ooh.
Of course, I'm going to ask you first.
Yeah, this is a difficult decision. Both teams really haven't had too much of trouble with their schedule. I'm going to go for Coach Wolff. I'm going to go Michigan.
Okay. It's really hard not to. Ohio State, like you said, neither team has really played a really tough team. Both teams have beat Penn State. Both teams have had a couple of trouble with some unranked teams, like Ohio State almost losing to Notre Dame a few weeks ago. So it's a tough place to play. They fit like 100,000 people in that stadium. They're going to play Mr. Brightside. I'm going to go Michigan as well. I think they'll get the three-peat. They've been in the last 2 years. I think they're going to kind of make a statement with all the allegations with the cheating going on over there. I'm going to take Michigan with you as well. So we'll both go with the Wolverines. All right, an ACC battle. Pitt travels to Duke. I think last I heard, I think Duke is a 7-point favorite here. Travis, who do you got?
I'm going to have to go with the home team.
Your Blue Devils.
Yeah, Duke University.
Your Blue Devils, who almost lost to USI last night. Did
Yeah,
you watch that game?
I saw parts of it. The USI was winning at half, so that's a moral victory, and then end up losing by 18.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Pitt here. Go with the Panthers. They have a big win earlier this year over Louisville, but I'm going to have them pull the upset on the road here. North Carolina at number 22, North Carolina State. Who do you got, Travis?
I'm going to have to go with the home team, North Carolina State.
NC State. I will go with, I think Drake May ending his career last few games in North Carolina. Give me the Tar Heels here. Another one, Colorado at Utah. It's been a rocky year for Coach Prime and the Buffaloes. Who do you got in this one, Travis?
Utah got me last week, so I'm going to have to go with Coach Prime and Shadur.
Gonna go with Colorado. I'm gonna go with the home team, Utah. And they're gonna get the win there. Big one locally. SIU playing their first home playoff game at the new stadium, which really isn't new anymore. It was built about 10 years ago or so. First home playoff game at that new stadium. They play Nicholls State today at home. What do you think, Travis? Do you think Saluk's going to pull this one off today?
I'm going to go with SIU.
I will go with SIU as well. Good luck to the Salukis today in the first round of the FCS playoffs. All right, on to the NFL games tomorrow. A lot of interesting matchups going on tomorrow and Monday. First one, tomorrow the Buccaneers at Indianapolis to face the Colts. I'm going to go with Gardner Minshew and company here going to pull off the win. Colts, that is.
The Colts. Oh, this one's a tough one. I like the Bucs defense, but they haven't played well since Week 5.
Mm-hmm.
I have more fantasy players on the Colts, so I'm going to go with the Colts.
That's fair. All right, the Jags travel to Houston to face the Texans. This is a big game for the AFC South. Texans beat Jacksonville earlier in the year. I think they're going to beat them again at home. Man, Houston, they look good. C.J. Stroud, he's the real deal. I got Houston into this one.
I think the Jags have a better team, but I think the Texans have a better quarterback.
Ooh, that's a bold statement.
That is a bold statement, but give me the Jags. Give me the Jags. I need to go different here, so I'm going to go Jags.
Another one, Bills travel to Philly to face the Eagles. Both teams had wins last week. Buffalo, it's been a rocky year for them. With this game being in Philadelphia, I'm going to take the Eagles.
You're going to go with the brotherly shove?
Brotherly shove.
The tush push?
Yes.
I think Josh Allen's going to have a big week, but I'm going to have to go with the Eagles just for the fact that the Eagles are the better overall team, even though Jalen Hurts is struggling with whatever injury he has.
All right, so we both picked the Eagles there. Another one, I believe this is the Sunday night game tomorrow night. Ravens at the Chargers. I really need the Chargers to win for the sake of my Steelers, but I know the Chargers are not going to win. The Chargers will find some way to lose that game, even if they're up 20 points. I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens here.
I want to go different, but it's got to be the Ravens in this. The Ravens are the better team.
Yeah,
Chargers have been kind of struggling. They fired their OC, or no, that wasn't their OC. Was their Oh no! They haven't fired anybody.
No, yeah, they're going to fire.
They're going to fire their
though.
head coach. Yeah, Brandon Staley's going to be gone. So,
last one. This is Monday night. The Bears are at your Minnesota Vikings. Travis, Josh Dobbs, rough loss. Last second loss last Monday, but I think they're still playing good. The Vikings are the better team here. I'm going Minnesota.
I picked them last week and they got me, but it is a home game. Josh Dobbs hasn't played terrible. It just hasn't played great. I'm just still going to go with the Vikings.
You think that he can get you guys in the playoffs?
Yeah, we might sneak in the playoffs just to lose in the first round. But,
but at least you got there.
Yeah,
right? That's my
add a tally to the number of playoff appearances.
Yeah. Well, that's going to wrap things up for us this morning. Again, a big thanks to Kevin Wolff for stopping by and talking to us about the basketball team this year. It's going to be a fun season, going to be a fun week watching them at the DuCoin Tip-Off Classic. And again, we'll have Monday, Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday's games on the air, radio only. They are streaming those games on the NFHS network, DuCoin is, which is why we cannot stream those. But you can watch those there. You can listen to them on 97.3 WRUL. No Saturday morning sports show next Saturday. Me and Travis will resume on December 9th, and we will go from there. But it's about to get really busy, Travis. Both basketball teams getting into full swing. It's the most wonderful time of the year, as I like to say. Of course, Christmas coming around, but it's always fun, especially when I get to do it with you.
Yeah, it's always a good time, and it's a busy schedule, to say the least. But it's always a good time.
On top of that as well, it's busy for you, really.
It is, but it's worth it. Just to enjoy the sport of basketball and see these kids competing at a high level. It's really nice.
Absolutely. Well, big thanks to J.C. Tinsley across the hallway getting us on the air. For Travis Black, I'm Cole Carter. Have a great weekend, sports fans.